Ladies, I'm sorry to say this, but Portia's evil. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Circle Club Show. I'm Tyrone. Today, we're talking about the White Lotus, Season 2, Episode 4. Whew, this episode was a lot. This episode starts off with Cam in bed with me and Lucia. First off, how does this guy not have the money to pay them? Like, I know they had a crazy night and they were drunk and messy, but it's like, your wife Daphne is literally coming home the next day. I would have them out an alarm at 3 a.m., have everything that they need. Like, what if one of them said something? He's just such a messy, careless character. And what kills me is I know that the writers are going to let him scathe through the entire show just to make us mad. But that's exactly what he does. He scathes through, no problem. And then contrasting that in the other room, Harper comes back from the trip. Ethan is completely hungover, can't even really stand up. He's got a headache. He's about to vomit. And she's telling Ethan about how her night with Daphne went and how Daphne kind of trapped her there. But what she says that is really important to create the tension throughout the whole episode is she's like, yeah, they're completely faking it, babe. Daphne and Cam, she was telling me about their issues and this, that, the other thing. And she also mentioned something else that I'll get to it later in the video. Harper sort of starts to get a feel that the vibe is off with Ethan because Ethan knows that last night Mia kissed him. And now, in Ethan's defense, he didn't kiss her. Mia kissed him. And he was sort of like, whoa, this is too much. Cam is a bad boy. Now, this is something that sort of bothers me with writing and television shows, not just this show, is, okay, Harper and Ethan have been together for how long? And you're telling me that they can't have a simple conversation and be like, hey, this is what happened last night. I'm really sorry. I got super drunk, blah, blah, blah. We're done hanging with them for the trip. Be mature about it, right? But then to add salt to the wound, Ethan goes off, it doesn't say anything, and Harper finds a condom in the bed. Harper finds a condom on the couch. Now, this just blows her mind because she literally moments just before was talking about how their relationship is all screwed up and secretive and Daphne's okay with Cam cheating. I thought, yes, I understand Harper's going to be completely shell-shocked in that moment, but she should have approached Ethan immediately there. Again, you're with someone, they're your partner. Like, ask those questions, right? Why leave it up to chance or your mind running and racing? Like, if he did something wrong, then you have to make a decision after. Do you want to be with this person? Can you trust this person? Otherwise, you're still with someone you don't really trust. So it's like, get to the bottom, find that truth. So that was something I really didn't like, but I totally understand why. It's to create that tension. Now, next they go to breakfast, it seems like, and Cam and Daphne are just kissy and as if nothing happened, and boys will be boys. But there's just, Harper can't get over finding that condom, and Ethan is just completely oblivious to what's going on, but he knows that Harper's upset. He's not sure if it's because she's tired of hanging with this crew. And Cam, dirty Cam. Cam sort of gives this look of like, looks like those two are going to have some issues. And so I'm of the belief, I think Cam might have put the condom there. Does anyone else think that? Let me know in the comments down below. I think Cam put that there. I mentioned in my last video as well that there's this back and forth between Cam and Ethan about sort of being the alpha. I think it bothers Cam definitely a little bit more than Ethan. And we know Cam sort of has a little crush on Harper, maybe like a little bully crush. And I think we're going to see that in the next few episodes. Him start to flirt a little bit, push the envelope, and Harper, because she doesn't really know what's going on, but she knows it's going to piss Ethan off, she may lean into it a little bit. So that is about to get very messy, and I'm not looking forward to it because I liked Harper and Ethan. I kind of like that, even though they weren't from this 1% world, they were involved in it, but they didn't let it sort of change who they were. And now it seems that this environment maybe have changed them, or maybe this is who they were all along, and we'll find out. Next on the docket here, we got Mia and Lucia. Mia is finally leaning into her sex worker life, I guess. And she is ready to do whatever it takes to be a singer. I personally thought this was a little bit rushed, this episode. I was like, okay, Mia just sort of went from I won't kiss anyone, I'm not with anyone. She sort of was following Lucia, and now she's just, hey, let's go. And also this guy that she's like thinking is going to give her an opportunity, she barely knows. I mean, he's singing at the hotel. That doesn't mean he knows some executive and producers, even though he said that. So it's a little bit naive on her part, but she's going to do whatever she takes to make that happen. So she goes off with the singer. She's like, let's go, let's have sex now, let's make this a thing. And so they're in the church. They're going at it. He can't seem to finish. And so she's like, hey, let me go back and get some Viagra. So she's looking through Lucia's things, trying to find some Viagra. She's got ecstasy and God knows what else is in there. But simultaneously, Lucia sees Albie is sitting on his own because Portia ditched him, which we will get into momentarily. But so Lucia and Albie are together, and they're in the water and talking, and I think, Lucia is a very sweet character. She's one of my favorites. I think the writers almost want you to look at her differently because she's a sex worker, but she clearly is someone with goals and passion and has morals. The thing is, she's like, look, if people are going to do this anyways, I might as well profit off of it. But I don't think that's truly who she wants to be and what she wants to be doing. And she says that a lot throughout this episode. But going back to Mia asks Lucia, which pill is it? She can't hear because she's out on the water with Albie. And she says, you know what, screw it. I got to get back there. So she goes back with the singer, gives him a pill. Obviously, it wasn't going to be Viagra. It's probably some sort of drug. And then so the singer goes back out after they've hooked up. And she's like, hey, so when am I going to find out about more information about you maybe turning me into a singer? And he's like, look, we don't have time for this right now. He's sweating bullets. He can't even focus. And so as he's singing, he sounds terrible. And then boom, he falls, collapses. Not even sure if he died. I thought he was going to be the one to die in this show. So for them to eliminate him right now, I kind of like that move. I like it a lot. Mia may potentially get into trouble. So then how does she get out of that? Does Lucia get involved? I don't know. Last video I made, I mentioned Valentina and how she hasn't really gotten a lot of shine despite being the White Lotus manager this season compared to Armand. But this episode we get a little bit more. Valentina is in love, has a crush, I don't know, with Isabella, one of the workers there. And she sort of warns her about men in Italy and not to fall for their traps and all this. And she's sort of overtaken by Isabella, which is sort of striking, I guess, because I thought she was a lot more closed off. I thought that she was being a little bit more strict with the workers because she wanted the White Lotus to be tight. But this sort of reveals the reason why she was being so strict with them is because she doesn't want Isabella flirting with the other workers, which makes all the sense in the world, right? Next, we got the Grassos. We got Bert and Dom. So Bert and Dom just kind of doing their own thing this episode. Not too much. But Dom is really thinking about his choices that he's made. I think he sort of realizes that if he wants to get his wife back, he's going to need a grand gesture or some sort of large effort. And so what he does is he tries to buy her a necklace. And Albie's like, Dad, you can't just buy people with money. And we also see that Dom is like, hey, Albie, you're my only hope really here to get your mom back. And he's like, I will not play a role in whatever's going on here. So again, we still don't really know what Dom did, but it clearly had to be terrible if Albie is like, I won't even let you do that to mom. I won't let you get a second chance with mom. He doesn't care if the family is broken up. And Bert gets a little preview from Mia and Lucia when he walks into their room. And they have this conversation back and forth, Bert and Dom, about being a little bit jealous of Albie because Albie's off with these young women and having fun. And, obviously because he's not committed yet. And that's something that they both wish that they could still do. Dom may be able to do that in a couple months after that divorce. But they were talking about their envy. And what's so interesting about these three characters is we're seeing this 3-generation tier of masculinity and how they react to society's standards of masculinity based on when they were born. Bert comes from the time of men will be men. We will figure things out. We don't need to open up. We don't really need to listen to women. We are the decision makers, and that's final. Dom is sort of this balance between the Gen Z millennial and baby boomer, where I think he wants to be a better person, but sort of holds on to some of those older traditions. And I think he really relies on Albie for that guidance. But Albie is just cutting him off. He's not having it. I think he just is like, at this point, you know what, Dad? You're a disappointment, and it is what it is. And then you see Albie. Albie represents this new generation. Now, I've heard a lot of people online talk about Albie and say, Albie is that classic nice guy. He does nice things, so he expects people to do things back for him. I think that is a very harsh criticism. Albie has not shown us that that's who he is up until this point. Albie is someone who is listening. He's having a conversation. He's being aware of his surroundings, sort of. But I think Albie gets a little bit of a harsh rep from the Twitter.com crew about being a nice guy. But I think, yes, that's a possibility that they may go that route. But up until this point, we haven't seen anything that sort of reiterates that he could be the nice guy gone bad. So I think we should pause a little bit on that. But that is certainly a route that they could go. Now, let's get into Portia, because that has to do with Portia and Albie. So, to my surprise, I was like, Portia's not really feeling Albie, and he's not really picking up that signal, but she also sort of is dragging him along. And then she has this realization of, you know what? I have this nice guy. He went to Stanford. He's super sweet to me, super nice. What am I doing? Why am I looking for trouble? But she chooses trouble anyway. And again, this is what I said to start this video. I understand you want to create tension and drama, but I think in a show where there's so much other tension, drama, and issues, like, why not make Gen Z be that generation that you could sort of aspire to be like, or the model citizen? But that's fine. That doesn't happen. What does happen is Portia invites Albie to hang out, and I think she sort of leans into it a little bit. So Albie's like, okay, cool. Wow, yeah, you know, you're being receptive. We're going to hang out. She's texting him to come down there and hang out, do their thing. Albie comes down there, he waits, and she just disses the man. Doesn't text him to say the plans have changed. Doesn't come down there to say hello. Nothing. Because Portia and Tanya get invited by this guy, Quentin, who's also staying on the White Lotus. And Quentin and his, I don't know, how did you call it? His ensemble are acceptable to Tanya because they're gay, which makes them more receptive. She doesn't have to worry about anyone trying to sleep with her or break her heart. They're just friendly, which is not how that actually works, but I digress. But Quentin brings along Jack. Quentin brings along Jack, who's his nephew. Portia's obviously had that interaction by the pool with him. She's totally feeling him now. Jack is the classic Essex fuck boy, but Portia being American, oh, you got an accent, oh, I'm in love. And Jack is the bad boy that she's looking for to have a little bit of adventure. Again, ladies, look at me. You can have an adventure with a nice guy. You don't need to have someone be a douche or mean to you to go on an adventure. Albie was very much interested in going on adventures, touring Italy, going to jet ski, or, you know, there's other ways to go about that, and she has no obligation to Albie. Like, if we're being honest, there's no obligation that she has to be in love, talk to him, whatever. But the thing is, she's leading my man Albie on because Albie was sort of in this limbo. She's giving him energy. You know, when he gave her that kiss, she said, yeah, no, it's fine. No worries. She could have said, hey, I'm not feeling you like that. Hey, I'm just here to have a good time. Nothing. No communication. And I understand that this girl has her own issues. Everyone's got their issues. But that does not mean you can't communicate a message. For all she knows, Albie will be totally fine with them just hooking up with other people or just making it that, whatever. Also, has she told Albie that she wants to do something dangerous, crazy, wild, whatever? You know, she said she came for an adventure. What does that mean? And now she's got Jack, this fuck boy, who is going to, honestly, if we're making predictions, I think Jack is going to be bad news. I can see him getting really drunk and hitting someone, getting into a fight. Jack and this Quentin crew, they seem like bad news to me. Tanya looks like she's going to be roped into some pyramid scheme or something. Quentin tells Tanya about this house where there was a woman there who went missing because she wouldn't sell the house to these wealthy guys. And Daphne, the previous episode, was just talking about how that's how these people operate. So I'm nervous right now for Portia and Tanya. It doesn't seem like they're going down the right path. I think the writers want us to believe that Albie isn't going to be this virtuoso kind guy, but you know, it's like I said about season 1 with Quinn. Quinn was the nice guy who saw his environment and was like, let me embrace it, let me actually take the vacation in. And the only person in this cast that is actually trying to do that is Albie. And Albie, despite Portia sort of dissing him there, decides, you know what? Let me hang out with Lucia, have a little fun, have a little blast. And he sees Portia and Jack at the same exact bar, and he gets a little bit jealous. He's not sure how to really handle that. But Lucia's like, hey, why let them win? Why let her make you jealous? You're here in Italy. Have a good time. And you know what he does? He has a good time. They're making out. They're drinking. They're having a good time. He goes back to the hotel. Gets a little fun too. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying about Portia is if that's what you wanted, why not say that? Why not ask for that? I mean, Albie clearly is a guy who's going to go with the flow. Have a good time. And I think Lucia, it's a shame that she got with Dom because I'm looking at her and I'm like, man, like, she seems like the exact sort of person Albie could use on this trip is someone who's just gonna let him loosen up, have a little bit of fun, someone who's going to be a local and he can ask questions. She also is looking to have a good time, but also be with someone with some money, someone who's gonna be caring. I'm sure Lucia has seen so many filthy men who don't care to listen to a word she has to say or anything that she wants to do, or even ask her, who are you? You know, like, what's your name? Things like that. So it's a shame. It really is. But in my opinion, at this point, we're in episode 4. We're at the halfway point almost. I think it was 10 episodes. So we're almost there. So we're going to start to get more into the mystery of who did it, who died, whatever. I'm starting to think Jack might be the guy to go down. I can see Jack getting too drunk, aggressive, being a douchebag, and someone puts him into a body bag. I don't know. What do you all think? Comment down below. Let me know where you think that is all going. Comment and let me know what you thought about this episode and review. This show is the best show on television right now. I'm absolutely loving it. Make sure you guys comment down below your thoughts and opinions. And remember, be kind down there. You can have a different opinion. That's not a problem. You can tell me I'm wrong. Thank you all for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.